So again, Troy spoke about this earlier, because you kind of hit on this. You talked about when you have those significant outcomes and you are an ethical person, you have your values, people know who you are, you're predictable. Um, and then you have people start reaching out to you for giving you, offering you opportunities. Um, has it happened to you as you've moved forward in your career? Have people come and just kind of offered you opportunities? And then if I can ask, how did what do you think you did to make people think of you on a particular topic to want to offer you an opportunity versus you always applying for jobs everywhere?
Well, um, because I own my own business, people think that I don't any longer apply for a job. Every time I acquire a new client, I'm applying for a job. So I actually am more engaged with the job application process than most people because I do it multiple times a week. Um,
Yeah.
and so um, it's about brand, and you have to think about brand not superficially, but brand authentically. And so you want to be known for things that make people refer you, And so um, I will never ever mislead a client. I will never say, yes, I can do this for you if I think I'm actually not qualified to protect their interests. And so I've gotten more work by saying, you don't really want me to do that. Let me go get someone who can do this for you. Or I can only do this portion. I'm going to go get a team member who can fill this gap because a positive outcome for you is the only thing that matters. And that builds a certain caliber of trust. So someone may call maybe someone might call Troy. Who do you think I should talk to about this? Well, call Paul. He'll tell you the truth. And when you live your life that way, I don't. Um, I guess I don't really think about it as a flow of opportunities, but that's one way to look at it. It's we live in a very, very interconnected world, and you just need to put positive energy, positive results, think in a long-term um, perspective, think in terms of relationships instead of transactions,
Mm-hmm.
and things will work out.
Well, can you dig a little deeper into this? Because I know there's the individual right now who's listening and saying, okay, um, I'm going to, if someone comes to me and I'm not ready for that opportunity, maybe I should pass it along. Like, so where's that cut line between saying, you know what, I'm not the right person to do this, and someone saying, I think I can do it. I can grow. I can stretch myself, and I can accomplish it. I mean, because you wouldn't, turn away everything that was maybe a little more difficult than what you've done in the past. Like, where's that cut line?
Um, you have to think entrepreneurially, and by that I mean you think about creating value, and never think about yourself as being the singular part of the answer. And entrepreneurs think about outcome, and they think about what resources do I need to acquire to bring to bear to making this happen. If you think about yourself as an enterprise that way, entrepreneurially, and you keep your humility locked close, you'll reduce the number of times that you say, I really can't do this. Because there's a big difference between saying, I can't do this and I can't do this by myself. If you, if you, if you, if I call humility the great capacity expander. If you may not be able to move 1,000-pound beam by yourself, but you and 9 other people, it's a piece of cake. So, and in fact, when I'm asking people to do things, I often say, do or cause to be done, because I want people not to see the request as being a request for them to do something singularly, do or cause to be done. And if you hear somebody's request in that same vein, someone's not saying, can you do this? If you hear someone saying, can you do this or can you cause it to be done? Your response is different.
I look, I'm saying I love it again, but I really do. I love it. I was actually just interviewed for a podcast by a colleague of mine, I think called Tuesdays with Coach C. And she asked me, how did I go about overseeing and creating an executive leadership development program when I was 23? And she's like, how did you do that? And my answer was, I was very confident. I was very confident that I didn't know everything. And because I knew I didn't know everything, I knew I had to reach out and get other people to help this be successful. There's no way this 23-year-old kid was going to do it. So I love, what you're talking about. Either you can do it or you can cause it to happen. Like I love that. I'm hoping everyone's listening to this, because this is something that I think many government employees who want to progress in their career need to be hearing, is that you don't have to necessarily be ready to do it on your own. But if you know that you have the right connections, the right resources, the right relationships, you can make something happen. But that also then underscores the importance of having and building those relationships early.
Right. That's right. And when you're thinking about doing or causing to be done, you don't have to be able to imagine the solution to commit to finding the solution. And I've had this conversation with a lot of people that as they define themselves, they're trying to calibrate their intellect and whether their intellect makes them capable. And that's a problem, because our educational system starts, whether people know it or not, that they're getting some form of IQ test. And then someone is making a judgment of what slot or track they should be educated within. And then what you see is, those are all the high performing kids in that class over there. That those are all the underperforming kids in that class. And what do we do as human beings? We say those are the smart kids and those are the dumb kids. And then we relate ourselves to one of those two groups. What people need to understand is your intellect is not that much different than your physical being. If you are a chubby kid, that does not mean you can't get in shape. If you want proof, go look up a picture of what Arnold Schwarzenegger looked like when he was 16 years old. He was a little skinny kid. And if that kid told you he's going to become Mr. Olympia, you would laugh out loud, right in the face, right? Yeah. But he understood that there was a developmental process he could commit to. And too many people don't understand that they're able to view their intellects in that same vein. And so you may not know something, or you may not be able to do something. And one of the things that I coach people when they're having that conversation with themselves, and they say, I can't do X or Y, to be disciplined, to have that thought and think, yet. It's not a permanent condition.
Yeah.
It's your current state. Now, what are you going to do about it?
Man, Paul, I really wish that you and I could just sit down and talk for a few more hours. And honestly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to position myself. I'm going to say, do you mind if I stay connected with you?
Absolutely.
I did got him on record, so no one can, you can't say it. Hello, everyone. This is Alex Tremble from GPS Leadership Solutions. And if you found this last interview to be awesome, spectacular, and actually you benefited from it, let me tell you, this is only the tip of the iceberg. Visit the alextrembleshow.com, information below in the description, and that's where you'll find the full uninterrupted interview. And I'm telling you, there's so much great content you'll hear from this past leader, as well as all the other leaders we've already interviewed. So remember, don't just look back, reach back. If there's someone who you think will benefit from this interview or any of the other interviews, make sure you share it with them. Click the like, click the subscribe. And as I always like to end all my sessions, stay strong, stay positive, and definitely stay moving.